Well, good morning and welcome to Focus Today. We got some great guests for you today. First of all, on top here we have Tanya Marchiol. She's with us. She's the founder and the president of Team Investments, and she also has got a book out called The Prosperity Principle. And in 2013, the Arizona Business Magazine named Tanya Realtor of the Year. Now, why do we have her on? Well, the post office is selling some business, actually selling some buildings, excuse me. In fact, even our own area, we see where one has already been sold and a couple of others are up for sale. Well, what's this all about? Well, Tanya's here to maybe help us get a handle on that. Hi, Tanya. How are you doing today?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Are you down there in Arizona?
I am in Arizona.
Man, how hot did it get yesterday?
I think it was up to about 115.
No kidding.
But you know, every Arizona says, right? It's dry heat.
It's dry
okay.
heat. Yeah. We've heard that one. Well, listen, thanks for a little bit of your time today. So we know that the post office overall is in trouble financially. They got to make some cutbacks. They're still trying to figure out if they're going to do the Saturday delivery cancel thing, but we know some buildings are being sold and are up for sale, in fact, in our own area. But what's this really all about?
Well, they are actually going to sell approximately 56 of them. And as of April, from my research, 41 buildings were on the market and 11 parcels of USPS land. The problem is it's being sold by someone by the name of Richard Bloom. We don't really know who that is. It really didn't matter until you looked into that a little bit deeper, and who just happens to be the husband of Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Oh.
So we start thinking about that, and, you know, it's really a problem because all of these kind of contracts end up going to somehow or another, somebody who knows somebody on a handshake in this kind of situation with the government. And you think about it, it's over $1 billion worth of real estate, and it's a 6% commission. They are putting at least $60 million of commission in their pocket. $60 million to one particular company that is owned by Feinstein's husband. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah. Are you kidding me? I'm just kind of wondering, why isn't... well, first of all, how does Senator Feinstein get away with this, and why isn't this being exposed?
Well, she is saying that she has nothing to do with her husband's business dealings, and, you know, this was strictly bid out. And it's interesting because when you look at who the United States Postal Service has used in the past, they bid those out to lots of companies, and it's been different companies. It's never been C.B. Richard Ellis, who Mr. Bloom is on the board of. So, you know, it's just, you just have to, it's mind-boggling and mind-blowing when you start looking into these things and you think, you know what, that, first of all, that should be some kind of discounted rate because it's a government situation. Right. Being in real estate, obviously I want to get paid for my services. I understand everybody wants to get paid for their services. We don't work for free. Never ask anybody to work for free.
Right.
However, I do think that a portion of that should go back to all of what we've got going on in government. The United States Postal Service is in trouble. They could get that at a discounted fee, and by no means is 6% a discounted fee in any way, shape, or form. And then to think that it's going to, you know, the senator's husband or the senator herself in a roundabout way just absolutely infuriates me.
Well, it should, and it should every American and taxpayer. I mean, this is cronyism gone crazy, and you would think that the U.S. government would have some kind of inside property management that they could handle this themselves and not pay a commission.
Absolutely, and then put that money back into everything that we've got going on that's going wrong.
Mm-hmm. 60 million. So you've estimated 60 million on these 56 buildings. And I would assume, Tanya, there's more to come because they're consolidating like crazy.
Well, what they said is that it's billions, with an S, of dollars worth of property that's being sold. So I just did commission based on $1 billion to try to see what that looked like, and that's $60 million. So, I mean, just the absolute waste that goes into our government, the lack of thought, not even being able to put together real estate deals properly for our own government. It is just absolutely insane.
All right. Now, have you done any investigation as how this may occur? Did it have to go through a committee, or is this an inside post office deal? I mean, somewhere along the line, Senator Feinstein's husband got in front of the line, and there had to be some cronyism to let that happen.
Absolutely. From what I understand, normally this process is bid out, truly bid out. And in this particular case, from what I've read, it was not bid out. It was actually just given to C.B. Richard Ellis because they are a large company and they're a great company. I'm not taking anything away from them as a commercial brokerage house.
Yeah.
But the problem was this was never bid out properly. It was literally, from my understanding, handed to C.B. Richard Ellis, and Mr. Bloom obviously is on the board of that company.
Well, there you go. Do you sense anybody within Congress, anybody blowing the whistle on this, or is it just happens and it's a done deal and yada yada?
Well, first of all, we can't even, if you have a Verizon phone, they're looking at your record. we can't we can't pay our taxes normally without them going crazy if we're on the wrong side of the fence. Do I think that anything is going to happen? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do I even think that this is going to be brought up in light? Absolutely not. I think that this will be something that gets swept under the rug that, nobody even cares about. We can't, unfortunately, get a lot of Americans to care about what's going on with the major scandals. They won't even know about these kind of things.
Yeah, this is incredible. Well, thanks for being the hawk that you are and give us the insight on this. Hey, listen, while I have a couple of seconds here left, tell me from your perspective as a realtor, all appears that maybe the market's coming back. What's your sense?
I absolutely think the market's coming back. It's right now it's a safer time than it's ever been. You're not getting those major deals that you were getting when you were taking some risk getting into the market, but there's a lot of deals out there in real estate. It's still a great time. And, the bottom line is with all this money being pumped into the economy, rates are still really low, so you should take advantage of them. There's a lot of cash going into this market, so it's not as volatile as it was when we had all the liar loans. I think that there's a lot of stability that's going on in the housing market.
Do you think we've reached the bottom of foreclosures, or is there another wave out there?
There's still a lot of foreclosures. We are not going to see a wave because as taxpayers, we pumped so much money into the banking system, so they should be thanking us that the banks are making money again. They're smart, and they can hold on to this product and trickle it out and keep that inventory low so that prices continue to rise. Wow.
Well, Tanya, thanks for your time. Your little investigative release here today is, I hate to say it, and I don't mean this to you personally by any means, but it's just kind of like salt in the wound with all the other junk that's going on in the country, and you're kind of, oh, no, now you got a high-ranking senator doing cronyism to her husband. I mean, this is nuts.
It's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous.
Yeah, okay. Hey, thanks for the heads up on it. Have a great day, and stay out of the heat down there.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
All right, Tanya, see you later. All right, we'll be right back here on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at the Dove TV. Did you know that when you support the Dove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Okay, we're back, and I am always honored to have with us our next guest, personal friend, just an all-around good guy, walking political encyclopedia. Sometimes you see him right there in the front row of the White House news conference, and I'm talking about none other than John Gizzi, who's the chief political columnist and White House correspondent for Newsmax. And hey, buddy, how you doing, friend?
I'm doing great, Perry. What a nice reunion.
Ah, yes, good to hear you and see you. Hey, listen, first of all, just kind of a little bit of an overview. What do you think of all this stuff that's going on in Washington? I mean, have you ever seen anything like it?
Do you have a couple of hours?
Yeah, I wish I did with you.
I would have to say, Perry, that this is the curse of a president's second term. And I've talked to several historians about this. The closest one can find of anything akin to the Obama scandals are the scandals that bedeviled President Truman's first full term after his election in 1948. These dealt with corruption within the Bureau of Internal Revenue, which is what the IRS was called then, and the Department of Justice. This is hauntingly a preview of what is happening right now, albeit the details are much different. In addition, what happened in Benghazi, the final story on that is yet to be told. Overall, it does not look good for a president who, even when people disagreed with him, had personal respect for the man. And now he seems like someone who, at the very least, has not kept his own official house in order. And just from my own perspective in the White House press room, sharp questions and rough rejoinders are flying like shrapnel at the James Brady briefing room, and Jay Carney is truly getting his comeuppance as the president's top spokesman.
Well, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you got New York Times now turned on him. You got Hollywood turning on him. Now you got some of the more liberal press starting to turn on him. He's nowhere to be found. When you start listing down the 7, 8 scandals that have popped up over the last month or so, he's out campaigning and raising money. When is this guy going to come back to the office and run the company?
Well, again, there's some who worry that he does that too much and wish he would be out campaigning a lot more. I have noticed that he is on the road more often than one would think a second-term president should be. Now, George W. Bush had 62 town hall meetings shortly after his reelection, and these focused exclusively upon reform of the Social Security system. He had an agenda he was pursuing, and all of that was dashed very cruelly by Hurricane Katrina in the summer of 2005. In Barack Obama's case, there is no major agenda save the implementation and funding of the Affordable Care Act, ObamaCare, and the accompanying Medicaid exchanges. This is something that's going to be the next great fight in Congress. There's an immigration bill coming up, but you are correct. The president's on the road. Just yesterday, in fact, he was in Massachusetts campaigning for Democratic Senate hopeful Ed Markey.
All right, let's go over to a couple of direct things. The Gang of Eight has produced their bill. It did get through the Senate. It looks like it's going to be very troubling to get it through the House. My concern is now, is this a political mistake for Marco Rubio to be a part of that gang?
The jury is not in on that yet, Perry. Marco Rubio was crafting and certainly helping some other good senators, including Republican Jeff Flake and Democrat Michael Bennet, and their goal was tremendously sincere, trying to come up with something that would deal with immigration and that would pass both houses of Congress. I spoke yesterday to Senator Bennet and Senator Flake, and they made it clear that there were tough provisions for English within the bill, and that health care would be banned in no uncertain terms for illegal immigrants. Those are good things. As to whether the House even deals with this or it takes its own step-by-step approach, one cannot be certain. I have a funny feeling, though, that whatever comes out of the House will be very different from what comes out of the Senate, and this will be resolved in a conference between the two. Marco Rubio, in the long run, I don't think is going to be harmed by it, because one way or another, this issue will be resolved by the end of the year.
All right. So let's say they take Obamacare out of the bill. They take
Obamacare is not in the bill.
Well, I mean, excuse me, medical care.
Right.
And so that could show up in the form of maybe welfare or something like that. But let's say that's taken out. They secure the borders, and they have some butchering of the bill over on the House side, and it goes to conference. It still ends up being a huge amnesty bill, doesn't it?
Well, this is why, and I hate to make judgments on what form a final bill will take. Now, again, the current bill on the Senate side does not include any form of health care except employers are permitted to purchase their employees health care if they are illegal aliens. and that's a private sector decision entirely. My own guess would be in the Senate. I've talked to several members who say they're going to stand by this bill. It is going to be comprehensive. We know that. On the House side, the prevailing attitude among House Republicans is what Chairman Goodlatte of the Judiciary Committee says, and that is that border security has to be dealt with separately, and then E-Verify separately, and other points such as the requirement of English have to be dealt with. That's not an amnesty in any way, shape, or form. And again, it's not a full bill. The greatest fear one can have is when Congress does something with a comprehensive approach. Obamacare is a case in point. The 1986 immigration bill is a case in point. My own problem with all of this is expecting lawmakers to read and digest 1,200 pages is a little difficult. My suggestion would be, instead of these laws that try to require members to read the bill, just require that the length of any legislation be no more than 4,025 words, the length of the U.S. Constitution.
There you go. All right. A couple of other things while I have you. What did you think of Governor Christie, and of course now making the appointment for the fill the Senate seat, and what this may mean in October under a special election?
Okay, Republicans have a very good track record, and you certainly know this as a former Republican chairman, of winning special elections, where they can concentrate on one race when the turnout is low and a base is needed to get to the polls. Republicans have a great track record. Just 2 days ago in my home state of Connecticut, they picked up a Democratic-held seat in the state legislature in a special election. Connecticut is not exactly known for being friendly to Republicans these days. 2 years ago in Massachusetts, Scott Brown won an historic election for the seat of Ted Kennedy. So I think having it at that time is pretty good. Now, my personal preference would have been, when I see this pantheon of Democratic power brokers who are becoming Democrats for Christie, I can see that the governor's headed for a landslide re-election. It would be very nice if he had had the election the same day and dared to lose a few margins from his expected landslide re-election to help put one more Republican senator in office for at least a year, when measures such as immigration are going to be thrashed out, the final fate of ObamaCare, and some other measures that are going to be coming across the board, including the budget, of course. Now, again, I could go either way on that. Republicans are having a very interesting primary. 4 heavyweight Democrats are duking it out for their party's nomination in the August primary, so we'll wait and see.
All right. Come to a little bit of more of a bird's-eye overview of things. You have Fast and Furious Benghazi, the AP story where the phone taps were, the Fox News story where Holder obviously okayed that investigation, the IRS scandal, which just continues to unravel. Most recently, the NSA, and even the State Department sex and drug deals. I mean, this thing is pretty messy. Do you think that Speaker Boehner has the fortitude to take the president head on all of these things and keep these investigations going?
Yes, I do, because like any good coach, he needs good quarterback, some good offense, and some good defense. And he certainly has that in Congressman Darrell Issa, the chairman of the Government Affairs and Reform Committee in the House of Representatives. And remember one other thing. About half of the Republican majority in the House are members who were elected in 2010
Tea Party
or 2012. Largely Tea Party-backed, unbought, and unbossed. And I think with that group out there, and I certainly could name some, there's quite a few people who came up through the prosecutorial arm, a number of former U.S. attorneys who are in office now. So I would say that the Speaker has the fortitude because he's got the team.
Interesting. Do you think Holder will go?
Yes.
Okay. How so?
Before the end of the year, and I will predict right here on Dove that his successor will be the governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick.
Wow. What leads you down this road, John?
Patrick is a very possible and likely easy vote for the Senate to confirm as someone who's a former assistant attorney general, someone who's won elective office and has been around political figures for a while. And I would just simply believe that he could get through the Senate because he does not have that much baggage that isn't out in the open. It may well be that the president opts for what he did in the choice of an FBI director. He chose James Comey, who was George W. Bush's deputy attorney general and a Bush-appointed U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Manhattan. An appointment like that with a 10-year term, it was clear he did not need a controversial appointment. And I think you're going to see this more and more when the president has to make second-term appointments. He can't afford the hemorrhaging that a floor fight over a controversial nominee would entail, and he'll go for the safe route. I say the safest he can go, barring any new information, is Governor Patrick for Attorney General.
All right, that's interesting. Now, moving over to Ambassador Rice being moved into National Security Advisor, which is kind of an in-your-face move because it doesn't have to go through Senate confirmation.
Right.
And he can turn around and give her executive privileges, which means she probably never will testify in the Benghazi case.
Well, again, staffers on the president's personal staff, White House staff, are more often than not barred from going before Congress, and they've defied subpoenas successfully. I can remember when my friend, the late White House Press Secretary Tony Snow, said that members of Congress on the Democratic side were trying to pursue what he called a show trial in the investigation of wholesale firing of U.S. attorneys, and that the White House staff would not cooperate with congressional subpoenas to come over and declare executive privilege. So you're absolutely right. We may not hear a peep from Susan Rice when she's in her office down the hall from the Oval Office.
Do you think the Republicans in the House, primarily under Boehner's leadership, are going to somewhat stretch out this IRS in Benghazi and maybe even the NSA investigations to influence the election in 2014?
Well, I don't see how stretching it out can be avoided, and I would say it if the roles were reversed. If Mitt Romney were president and Democrats were investigating scandal, so complex are each of the scandals you've ticked off, Perry, in terms of the labyrinthian bureaucracy that is the Internal Revenue Service, that is the Department of Justice, and that is the National Security Agency, that simply making the charts and explaining to people who started what and where the chain of command reaches its end is going to be a major chore. I don't think they're going to be stretched out. Remember something on the Internal Revenue Service. Someone told me yesterday, well, I worked for a company that had a political action committee, and we didn't seek tax-free status, so it doesn't bother me in the least. Maybe there's merit in that, except for one thing. 95% of the holdups for the tax-exempt status were conservative groups.
Yeah.
In striking contrast, what received smooth sailing for its tax-free status was the Barack H. Obama Foundation, founded by the president's brother in honor of their father.
Unbelievable. Well, John, you're a delight. And how are things going at Newsmax for you?
Just going great. It's amazing. After 33 years with Human Events, I made a relatively quick change. And yet I find myself, again, following politics around the country. I'm watching very carefully the special election coming up in Massachusetts and New Jersey, as you mentioned. And it took maybe 20 minutes, but my White House pass was changed to Newsmax, and I'm back in the seat at the Brady briefing room. Oh,
you're terrific. Well, congratulations to you, the best to you and your sweetheart. Stay in touch, my friend. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about as the days go by.
Call on me anytime for anything.
Thank
I'm watching very closely what's going on in Oregon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Hey, God bless, pal. See you later.
God bless, Perry.
All right, John Gizzi with us. He's terrific. All right, more coming up in just a few moments here on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at the Dove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at the Dove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Well, I'm delighted to welcome back to the program Andrew Mangione Jr. He's the Director of Business Development for the Association of Matured American Citizens, and we're here to talk about some of the catches within Obamacare. Andrew, nice to have you back. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Perry. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, before we get into it a little bit, tell us about the association and what it is and how people can get more information about it.
I'd be glad to, Perry. The Association of Mature American Citizens, otherwise known as AMAC, is the conservative alternative to AARP. We are a member benefits organization, but first and foremost, we're advocates for those Americans who are age 50 plus. We have over 730,000 dues-paying members in all 50 states, and we're adding about 25,000 new members each month.
Wow.
So we're growing very, very nicely. If people are interested in learning more about this other, for so many years, people thought that the only organization they could join to advocate on their behalf once they hit 50 was AARP, and that's not the case anymore.
You know, I have to tell you, when I get information from the AARP, I do this. I rip it and throw it in the trash. I just won't have anything to do with those guys.
You and thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people are doing the same. If people are interested in learning about AMAC, they can go to our website at amac.us. That's amac.us, or they could call 888-262-2006 and speak with a member benefits representative.
All right, let's get into this. You guys are obviously tracking the potential impact of Obamacare on senior citizens and mature citizens, and you're saying here the pathetic Obamacare irony of pre-existing conditions. How bad is this?
Well, when the law went into effect, a temporary program was established called the Pre-Existing Conditions Insurance Plan, or PCIP, and the federal government funded it by putting $5 billion into it. Wow. And what they're finding is that so many people are enrolling that they have to, wait for it, ration those who can come in. They've stopped enrolling people, so it's turned into a rationing program.
You got to be kidding me.
They're running out of money on this temporary program. And if you recall, Perry, critics of the Affordable Care Act that mentioned that this will lead to rationing were laughed at by supporters of the Affordable Care Act. And even before full implementation, we're seeing rationing already.
You know, Andrew, I mean, I want to be respectful here, but it appears that every promise that the president has made about Obamacare has been a lie. From lower premiums to pre-existing conditions being covered, and the list goes on and on and on. All of this seems to be just a bald-faced lie.
Right, right. I mean, when was the last time the federal government, no matter who's running it, managed any program efficiently or effectively? Just look at the VA, look at Medicare, and so yeah, I would have to agree with you. We were sold that you could keep your physician, you could keep your insurance if you like it. We were sold that this would bend. This was one of their catchphrases. It would bend the cost curve down. Yeah. And we're seeing premiums in California where the healthcare exchanges are implemented and up and running, where young, healthy people, individuals buying individual policies, are experiencing between a 46 and 164% increase in premiums.
Well, this thing's going to implode. It has to. Now, why did the AARP endorse this thing then?
Well, AARP, there was a lot of arm twisting done by the White House to get the endorsement of AARP. And keep in mind, Perry, that AARP endorsed this against the wishes of their members. Right. We suspect that obviously when AARP runs around and tells people that they're nonpartisan, that's a joke. They're very partisan. They support policies that the left brings to the table. They stand to profit by the sale of Medicare supplemental insurance once the Affordable Care Act is fully implemented. We believe that they are they serve the left and the policies coming from the left. They were extremely pressured, and their leadership folded, despite the fact that their members overwhelmingly did not want Obamacare and did not want AARP to endorse it. Their leadership was weak, and they caved in and supported it.
Well, do you see anything, do you see any kind of a mounting pushback on Obamacare? I mean, I know the polls say nobody wants it. It became law. Pelosi said, well, we'll tell you when it's in it after we pass it. I mean, you know the drill. But now we're beginning to find out that every promise that was made by the administration concerning Obamacare is false. Is your organization receiving pressure to push back?
Well, absolutely. Keep in mind the biggest difference between AMAC and AARP, Perry, is that our members drive our agenda.
Right.
They direct our actions, and they're very concerned. Particularly, 40% of our members still work, 60% are retired. Yes, our members are very vocal about their anxiety over the Affordable Care Act. They believe that it'll lead to doctor shortages. Less physicians will accept Medicare because there's not going to be any money in it. You're going to see quality of care go down. Absolutely, we're receiving feedback from our members that they want us to act on their behalf and right now what we're pushing is to defund Obamacare. Republicans are running the House of Representatives. They hold the purse strings, and they could defund all or part of it to slow down this implementation, take a step back, and come up with alternatives.
All right, because if the pre-existing is being rationed, it produces two things: possible lawsuits for those who have and who have not, and it also certainly brings into the picture somebody making the decision who gets care and who does not, which leads to the value of life.
That's right. That's right. And look, the administration will tell you we're covering everybody with pre-existing conditions, and you know what? People with pre-existing conditions need to be covered. There needed to be a solution, but this is not it. Even a temporary program, we're not even at full implementation. The temporary program is going bankrupt. Therefore, they're denying people who have pre-existing conditions entry into a program that serves people with pre-existing conditions. If it wasn't so tragic, this would be laughable.
Yeah, you're dealing with people's lives here. Andrew, are you able to get any headway in the House for defunding some of these things? Is Boehner paying any attention to this?
Yes, he is. He's paying attention. I wish that he was. He has shown some leadership. In terms of traction, we speak with different members. Obviously, I mean, I'm on Capitol Hill. I handle the government end of the business for AMAC members. There's talk about defunding. I think they're waiting for the timing. I think what they're doing, and this is just me speaking, Perry, they're seeing the implementation falter, stumble, and be clumsily managed. And I think they're hoping and they're waiting to see, as you mentioned before, that this whole law could crumble under its own hyper-regulated and just mismanaged implementation before they act.
But do we have to wait for a catastrophic meltdown where people are literally hurt for something to happen? I mean, with the House Ways and Means Committee, is that chairperson or even the members of that committee saying, wait a minute, we got to introduce something here and stop it? Yeah,
there's some that are there's a House GOP Doctors Caucus. Now, the House Ways and Means Committee, that's chaired by Dave Camp. He's out of Michigan, and we were in his office last week.
Good.
However, there's a House GOP Doctors Caucus, and this is a caucus that's made up of physicians, nurses, healthcare providers who are now members of Congress. They are pushing to defund. They are pushing to reform the reform that's in place right now.
You would hope that the IRS scandal and the potential of IRS literally managing Obamacare in itself would implode.
And you know what, Perry? I think a better word than manage is enforce. The IRS is the enforcer of Obamacare. And we'll talk about the scandals in a second. They're not even structurally set up to do this. All right? So they're ramping up with God knows how many more agents to enforce Obamacare. But given the fact of the persecution of people of faith and of conservative groups, this is like the fox watching the hen house. And it makes people, particularly our members, very uneasy that this group, the IRS, will have access to sensitive, personal, privileged medical records once they become the enforcers of Obamacare.
Wow. Well, how are your members responding to the scandals? I mean, the trust factor of anything going on in Congress or government in particular has got to be at an all-time low.
Yeah, absolutely. Our members want to know why do you remember the BP oil? Yeah. The oil spill, and you had Robert Gibbs, and the president wanted to know whose neck to put their boot on.
Yeah.
Well, our members want to know why people are still employed at the IRS.
Right.
Why aren't heads rolling there? This is a gross misjustice, a gross invasion of privacy, out and out. I mean, and it's right in front of everybody. And they're not buying the fact that the administration didn't know. They're not buying the fact that it was just a couple of rogue agents. This was a systemic corruption. And our members are, and they're asking. I mean, petitions are being signed, questions are being asked. Our members want to know why people are still employed at the IRS.
Well, Andrew, I want to applaud you for what you are doing and the organization you put together. Let me encourage our viewers and listeners, my personal opinion, get out of AARP. Your money doesn't go where they say it goes. It goes actually against the things you believe in. And take a long look at AMAC. And how do they get a hold of you, Andrew, or your company or your organization?
They can find us on the web at www.amac, that's AMAC.us, amac.us, or call 888-262-2006 to learn more about AMAC.
Terrific. Thanks, man. Thanks for being with us. Value our time together. Keep up the good work.
My pleasure. God bless you, Perry.
God bless you. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at the Dove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on the Dove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Okay, we're back, and delighted to have in the studio with us today some folks representing the Medford Food Project, which I think is a great opportunity for you to get involved. We have Javna with us and Faye Haynes with us today. John is the founder of the Medford Food Project, and Faye heads up the steering committee, right?
I'm a member of the steering committee.
You're a member of the steering committee. Well, thanks to you both coming in. You brought your green bags. Look at those pretty green bags. John, what is the Medford Food Project? What got you going on this?
Well, the Medford Food Project is an easy way for people to get involved with supplying food to local food pantries and food banks on a regular basis. But the key thing is it's easy. It's an easy way to do it, and it's very effective. We've been around for 2 years now, and we bring in about 25,000 pounds of food every 2 months. So perhaps we can explain how it works.
Yeah, please do.
You want to do that?
We have neighborhood coordinators who are people that go out in their neighborhood or in their workforce, and they get people that will volunteer to be donors. And they give them this lovely green bag, and they keep the green bag for 2 months. And we suggest every time they go to the grocery store, they buy an extra can of food, put it in the green bag, and then when the 2 months is up, you set the green bag on your front porch. The neighborhood coordinator comes around and picks it up and takes it out to the distribution point.
Wow.
And a cool thing about that, when you take it to the distribution point, we have, is it 18 or 20 different?
18 different food pantries.
Really?
That are involved. Yeah. And they're all there to pick up their food. They all get an equal share of the food. So we're helping to feed lots of people in the valley.
I think that's absolutely wonderful. So it's a bi-monthly project, right, John?
Yeah.
It's important that it's every other month. If it's every month, it gets a little bit onerous.
Right.
And if it's every 3 months, you forget you're doing it. 2 months is exactly the right amount of time. And we find this is a wonderful way for people to get involved in a limited way, but when everybody works together, and we have now about 2,700 families in the Medford, Jacksonville, Central Point area doing this. When everyone gets involved and does a little bit, it adds up to a great deal.
Oh, I can see how it can. How do people get involved? What do they do? What's the best way to do it?
The best way to do it is go to our website, medfordfoodproject.com.
Okay.
And there's links there for you to sign up.
And then you get the bag?
And then someone will contact you and get you the bag. You'll be put together with the neighborhood coordinator and take it from there.
Do you need, besides getting food and more people involved, do you need any members or helpers? Or?
We need neighborhood coordinators. That's what we need to sustain and grow the project. And being a neighborhood coordinator is an easy and wonderful thing to do. One of the things that really got me excited about the project is not only are you feeding the poor, the needy, the hungry, but you're creating community.
Right.
And so the neighborhood coordinator goes into their neighborhood and gets to meet their neighbors. And, you know, you can do whatever you want from there. You can create whatever community you want. But I feel like, you know, we're called to feed the hungry and also to develop community. So this is a great way to do that.
Again, MedfordFoodProject.com. John, is there any particular needs? I mean, sometimes I see where certain items get low. And
absolutely. The food pantries need protein, so it'd be tuna fish or peanut butter. Food pantries need, well, they like to get cereal, because cereal, for people who can't afford food, it can be a very expensive and sort of a luxurious item. And yet kids, there's about 15% of the population of Jackson County is what we call food insecure. And a large percentage of that is children. So giving cereal is really giving a gift. Also, they like canned fruit. That's an important thing, and low sodium is good, because people who are struggling with food very often have problems with things like hypertension, and you don't want to add too much salt. But it's on our website. Now I should add, you know, that there are 5 food projects in Jackson County, so it's not just in Medford. There are Eagle Point, Phoenix, Talent, and Ashland also have them, and we have been doing this for about 4 years. In Medford, we've done it for 2 years, and started in Ashland 4 years ago. And this December, we're coming up on 1 million pounds of food that Jackson County has donated, one bag at a time, one green bag at a time.
Oh, wonderful.
And I really think that people who are interested in helping out, you know, and we all have the sense we want to help, but aren't sure how to do it, will find that this is really a satisfying way to do it, as a way to meet your neighbors, as a way to feel that you're helping our hungry neighbors, and as a way of just building a stronger community, because, you know, we got to work together.
No question about it. And again, the concept here is, folks, you get one of these green bags, and you keep it for 2 months, and as you go to the store, you buy a little extra, put it in the bag, put it in the bag, put it in the bag, and then every other month somebody, you call your coordinator and they come by and pick it up. I think it's just wonderful. So the other thing is, if I get the picture right, you gather the food and then you distribute it to the agencies that get it to the individual.
Absolutely. We are just food collectors.
Yeah.
We have a great system in Jackson County to get the food to the people who need it, and access and other access, and then things like the Medford Gospel Mission, the Ashland Emergency Food Bank, the First Presbyterian Church in Phoenix. These are food pantries or food banks who specialize in being able to do outreach to people who need the food. But there's so many of us, like you and me and Faye, who have the ability to help out, but sometimes we just don't get around to doing it.
Yeah, what an easy way to do that.
Can I share a neat story about Medford Gospel Mission?
Yeah.
You say, does it really help the missions? It does. When Jason was so excited about what we were able to do, he was actually able to change his whole way of serving people. And he now has a restaurant style where the people can come, because he knows he's going to get a regular donation of food.
Well, they do great work over there. Now, how can churches get involved? I mean, it would seem to me a terrific church project.
It is a wonderful church project, and I have done presentations in a church, and we would love to have any church call, and we have a wonderful video presentation we do. We'll come, take 3, 4, 5 minutes, and
Where you go.
Here we go.
Well, there you go. You may want to talk to your pastor or your church community coordinator or whatever. And as a project, whether it's the whole church as a whole or individual, maybe the youth group or the men's group or whatever, what a great idea to collect this food. And I just think this is wonderful. I mean, it's so easy to do, and the green bags, everything. I just think sky's the limit, right, John?
I hope so. Right now we have close to 6,000 families in Jackson County who are participating, which makes it the largest volunteer organization in the county. And we've only existed for 4 years, and in most places like Eagle Point and Medford, less than that. But it's just such an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I should add, the linchpin of our system is the neighborhood coordinator.
Right.
But it sounds like a big job, and it's an important job, but it only takes about 12 hours a year.
Okay. To do it.
And we help out in every phase. We make it as easy as possible, and the satisfaction involved with helping to connect your neighbors to the people, to hungry neighbors who need it, is just really amazing. And
what do you do with perishables? I mean, do you stay away from that, or how do you get involved in that?
We prefer non-perishable items.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, in 2 months, your perishable item's not going to, it's going to perish.
Well, I mean, but things are come and go out of season, but you're more for the staple items.
Well, yeah, it is possible to put perishable items in at the last minute. You know, we pick up every other month, the second Saturday of every even month. So it's a regular pickup. So if you know it's happening and you've got something perishable you want to go in there, you can put it in that day. But we generally do non-perishables.
How big is the hunger problem in Southern Oregon?
It's large. It's large everywhere. Nationally, it's about 17% of the population. In Jackson County, it's about 15% of the population, which means there are 210,000 people in Jackson County. It's over 30,000 food insecure people in Jackson County, and those are your neighbors. These are people who live, and you can't always tell who they are. It's not like they've got signs on them or anything, and so it could be people who live right around you. So when you help out in this way, you're helping people who are your neighbors.
Yeah, because I think last time I looked, we're still double digits with unemployment, so the impact is there.
Absolutely, and it's an amazing thing with as much difficulty as we're having in this economy in Jackson County. People are stepping up and really helping, and so we're doing what we can.
Well, listen, if you're interested in doing this, Faye is, she's on the steering committee, and they can help you become a neighborhood coordinator. You need some more of those. But maybe you just want to get involved. Just get a green bag and you and your family participate, and go to the MedfordFoodProject.com and you can sign up. So thank you both for coming in. I think this is an absolutely wonderful program, and anything we can do to keep getting the word out, let us know.
Do you have time to add? Just
30 seconds, go.
Anybody can get involved. We have college students up to 80-year-old people that are, and just anybody can help. So.
Okay. Well, give them a call or contact them, MedfordFoodProject.com. Get yourself a green bag. Get your church a bunch of green bags. Let's just push it up over the top. Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Bless you both for what you do. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim and I work at the Dove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.